Hey guys, I'm back. If you can't tell by the title, we've got a bit of a story time for you today. So, let me set the scene for you a little bit. A few months ago, back in January, Beth and I were living in our old house. It wasn't, when we moved into that house, it wasn't finished basically. The house obviously was finished being built, but they hadn't moved the old tenant stuff out. There was a lot of work that needed doing, and we were paying rent on this place. Unfortunately, the work never got done, so we just decided to move out. We desperately needed somewhere to live because it was really getting on top of both of us, the condition of this house. And we just stopped paying the rent, thinking that would probably kick them up the arse to do some work, but they didn't. It just didn't, so we just left that house. Sort of mutually agreed. They did evict us in the end, but we saw it coming, so we set ourselves up basically to get evicted because we didn't want to be in that house anymore. So we end up in a situation where we need to find somewhere else to live. Now around about this time, Beth and I were considering moving to America. Still something that's in the pipeline, but we're not actively working towards that at the moment. But back in January we were considering, let's move out somewhere, save some money, and look at getting ourselves over to America and setting up a life there for ourselves. So after asking around, a good friend of mine suggested another mutual friend might have a spare room. And this is where this story gets interesting. So we actually managed to get hold of this guy eventually. He was a nightmare to track down. We eventually just randomly bumped into him in town. And he said, can we take this, I hear you might have a spare room, can we take it off you? Not a problem, he says. So, great, we've got somewhere to live, fantastic. We're going to move out of our old house, we even planned the moving. We've got 4 weeks to move our stuff. Fantastic, great setup. Really kind of the easiest move we've had. Also, we thought. So, the first, I think it was maybe 2 days after asking our friend, he showed up at the old house, blind drunk. And we'll be honest, that set some alarm bells off for ourselves, as you can imagine. Very drunk, trying to be friendly, but far, like, just wasted, just beyond drunk. So we basically ended up passing out on our sofa. And this happened over the 3 weeks we were moving. Like every couple of days he'd turn up at the old house, unannounced, blind drunk, and yes, it was a bit, as you can imagine, alarm bells really started ringing, but we thought he's a lonely guy. When we move in, he'll probably calm down. He's just excited that he's got someone moving in with him. He's been on his own for a couple of years. Give him the benefit of the doubt. And I mean, we knew he didn't have all his screws tightened, but we didn't realise the extent of what was going on. So, coming to this, the new house, when we came to view the house, because obviously we needed to know where it was, and we needed to know when we could move our stuff in, and we needed to know what we could bring. So we came in, and the house, oh, it was disgusting. I can't even tell you how bad it was. It was stinking, like so bad. This guy he had psoriasis from not washing, basically, or he basically didn't wash, and all his skin just shed everywhere. So when we came in, the carpet looked to be a brown carpet with white spots. It turned out just to be a brown carpet. There was sections of the carpet which were just white, which turned out to be dead skin. But this guy had clearly been depressed. He'd lost his mum a year before this all happened with us moving in, and we thought he's obviously just let himself go. So we actually cleaned the house up, got rid of all the rubbish, because there was so much of it. He'd been sleeping on his sofa, he'd been pissing on his sofa because he'd been too drunk to go to the toilet. So we got rid of his sofa, we brought a new sofa in, and we basically cleaned his house from top to bottom, and it was disgusting. It was hazardous to human health, but we did it. and then I had to get the gas meters replaced because he hadn't used them in over a year, and so I had to get them replaced. I had to get the electric meter replaced. I had to get the gas fire condemned because it's just not safe anymore. There's so much that needed doing. I had to get locks changed on the front door because he didn't have keys for his front door. So basically, we eventually get into the house. Okay, we've moved in, and to be fair, it was actually all right for maybe the first week. He wasn't the best housemate at all. He was disgusting, never cleaned up after himself. But it was sort of tolerable in the first week or so. But with that skin problem, we thought if we cleaned it up, he'd try and keep on top of it. That was very much not the case. So I was waking up, and the first thing I'd do is sweep the bathroom, pick up his dead skin so I could use the bathroom. It looked like someone maybe chucked a full ashtray on the floor. Maybe, like, to give you an idea of how much skin we're talking about here. And oh, it was so bad. He was just the most disgusting human being I've ever lived with. But hygiene wise, and well, what we found out later was horrific. So we're living with him for about 3 weeks at this point, and I start sorting out the spare room because he was still sleeping in the living room. We set him up a spare bed so he didn't sleep on the sofa, but he just didn't use it and slept on the sofa. I was sorting the spare room out with a sort of view to maybe set ourselves up a little living room up there, because we were upstairs, he was downstairs, and maybe we could just sort of find a happy medium where we didn't have to spend too much time around him and clean up after him basically everywhere we wanted to go. And in sorting out this spare room, I come across a bag of paperwork. Now this chap has told us before we moved in he's got 6 kids, he's estranged from their mothers, and then he told us I'm not allowed to see my kids because I went to prison. And he told us he went to prison for drug offences. So one day, cleaning the spare room, I find some paperwork. And I know I shouldn't have looked, but I'm a nosy bastard, and curiosity got the better of me. I wish it really hadn't, but there we go. I end up looking in this thing, and what right on top of this big stack of paperwork is the court readings for why he was banned from seeing his children. And I picked it up, I start reading, and oh my god, it turned out everything he told us was just an absolute lie. Basically everything that had come out of this man's mouth was a lie. Like, the whole time I'd known him through friends for about 4 or 5 years, and basically everything he'd ever told me was a lie. And it turned out he actually was a convicted paedophile who had abused a 7-year-old girl when he was round about 23, 24. Now, this happened in 1997, so it was, what, 20 years ago. What was really concerning is the girl he abused, I'm actually the same age as. So in 1997 I was 7, same age as this girl that he's abused. And that, finding out someone you live with is a paedophile is bad enough, but finding out it was someone your age sort of really fucking drives that home. I had my girlfriend Beth, my fiance, living in the house, and obviously that's a big concern. We're the guy who's abused children, and we've got a woman in the house, so yeah, it was horrific. But what do you do when you find out that someone you've lived with or you're living with is a paedophile? It's you can't. What can you do? My instinct was to fucking kill him, but you can't. Like, in realms of reality, you just can't. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'd happily stab him to death. I mean, I really would happily stab the man to death, but in reality, I don't want to go to prison. And it was a very very conflicting thing, because I didn't feel like I could confront the situation because we were still living here. So we were like, we're gonna have to move out. We're gonna have to move out. We can't fucking live here. I'm going to end up killing him. He's really creeping me out. Now, to say what level of creepiness this is, the house that we were in is opposite a child's play park, and it's what you realise afterwards. Like when I went into the room that was our bedroom, all that was in there was a chair facing out the window, overlooking the play park, and you just don't even. When you don't know there's a paedophile in the house, things like that don't enter your head, but afterwards, in hindsight, they do. And not only is there a play park right across the road, it's also a school 50 metres up the road, a primary school for kids age, what are we talking about here? 7 to 10, or 6 to 10, primary school is. And, well, that's his prime demographic, shall we say. And it was just disgusting. And then we later found out, when we moved in, he was on probation for assault. And I contacted his probation officer, and all she said was, I can't discuss this with you. I was like, well, that's horrific. And I was like, are you aware that he lives next to a school? And she said, I'm aware of where he lives, and I'm aware of his past convictions, which I cannot comment on. And I thought, fuck, what a world we live in, eh? When his probation officer is aware of what he does, and everything he's done, and still, nothing. He's allowed to live right next to a school, and obviously there was no evidence, clearly, of re-offending, else he wouldn't have been allowed in this house. So we go to move out, or we start looking at moving out, and we find out that he hasn't been paying the rent on the house that we're staying in. So the arrangement when we moved in was for him to keep paying the rent, and we would take on all the utility bills. Gas, water, electric, anything else that came through the door. TV license, anything. Council tax, we'd cover it. If he covered the rent and kept the house secure financially. Now this man doesn't work, and and hasn't worked in the whole time that I've known him. And so he gets his money off the government through benefits, and he was just spending it on beer and like just anything to get off his face. Weed, beer, and he'd just go to the shop every day, to the local corner shop, and spend £10 to £15 on just crisps and sandwiches and snacks. He'd never go to a supermarket to do any shopping, and then he'd sit around and complain that he had no money. So basically it was like living with a teenager who is 40 years old, and it was horrific. So eventually we get to the point where he stopped drinking when we were here, because I said to him, if you're going to we're going to help you out, get you back on your feet, you need to stop drinking, because he was just out of control. And for 3 weeks he didn't, and then he came in one night blind drunk, and from then it just kept happening. And then he started staying out, and he stopped coming back to the house, which was fucking great, I'm not going to lie. But it's also very concerning when you don't know what time someone's going to come in and what state someone's going to come into, and you don't want the conflict. And so eventually he just disappeared, and like we didn't see him for about 5-6 days. And then there's a knock on the door, and it was the landlord. And as you can imagine, at this point the landlord didn't know we were here, so we were, as you can imagine, very worried. We knew there was a debt on the house. We didn't know how much, because every time I asked, I was told it was fine and all the rent was paid. And eventually the landlord comes down, knocks on the door, and we see him from the upstairs window. We wave down, we come down. We still couldn't use the front door at this point, so we had to go around the back. We went around the back, we see the landlord, and we are so very lucky that we have got probably the nicest landlord in the world. like, without question. We met him, and on first meeting we said to him, look, if you can evict this chap, we are willing to take on. We're more than willing to take on the house and pay the rent and keep on the house, but the house will need a lot. Will need a lot of work doing. And I expected him to tell us to fuck off, to move out, to evict us straight away, and he did the exact opposite. He said that's fine. I'm going to evict him, and it cost him thousands of pounds to get this house back into order. We've decorated, we've had new carpets, we've had a new front door, we've had everything that was broke, because the whole house was ruined. It was just destroyed. Made a concerted effort to break as much stuff in this house as he could. Cupboards, all the boxes around the electric and gas points have just been broken. The extent of the damage was ridiculous. I mean, we're still waiting on some things, but I think that's completely reasonable. It's been 4 or 5 months, but it's completely reasonable. For the first 2 months the work was getting done, we didn't pay rent, because he hadn't officially evicted the old tenant. He didn't ask for money off us at all. He just said, you start paying rent in 2 months when he's officially out. And it was fantastic, but honestly, one of the most uncomfortable situations I've ever been in my life, and it's really, really knocked me back, and I needed to make this video because I felt like I've been lying almost by not putting it on my channel, which is nonsense. I know I'm just overthinking YouTube, but it's been that at the back of my mind, like, that I just had to get it out. None of our friends know. Even my friends that are friends with him, I haven't told, because how would you tell someone that your mate's a paedophile? And then you have to worry about the actual repercussions. This is something that happened 20 years ago, and the guy could still be killed for it. In reality, where we live, this is what could happen, and even though I wouldn't be sad, I don't want to be the one responsible for that happening. I don't want that, even though it would now come back on me, my own conscience would bear that weight, and I don't want that. I'm not about hate and anger. I quite like being happy, and I'd like it if the world was a nicer place. And it just fucking really ruined my mental. My whole brain's been fucked for months. It's really just, and I haven't uploaded for 3 months because it was all going on, and we had his stuff in the garage for like 3 months because he wouldn't come to collect his stuff. It was fucking stinking. We couldn't get the skip over to organise it because there wasn't a company willing to take it because it was basically hazardous to human health. And it was just a fucking nightmare. Excuse my language, I know this has just descended into me swearing a lot now, but honestly, it just fucking ruined my head. And yeah, I mean, at the time I went on Reddit. I think that's all the outlet I've ever had for this, was I went on Reddit and said I'm living with a fucking paedophile, what should I do? And they were just like, kill him! And it really wasn't helpful. I mean, the internet's not, but it just messed us up. But we're in such a better situation now. It's fantastic. We were in a really hard, shitty situation, and we have come up so well. Oh, the house is wonderful. Beth and I are getting on. We're doing great. We're both working on making ourselves better, because we've both struggled with mental health over the years. We're both really working on ourselves as people to move forward in life instead of just perpetuating the same bullshit. We're actually moving forward, and it feels great. We're actually in a really great place now. But fucking hell, a few months ago, it was so bad. Oh. But everything's great now, and we've got a dog. He's sat here. I'm not gonna get up and move the camera. I'll do another video. Look out for my next video. We got a dog. Big surprise. Big reveal. So yeah, this isn't funny. This isn't a comedy sketch, and that's what I wanted my channel to be. But it's honest, and that's what I wanted my channel to be. It's just me being honest and trying to make you laugh most of the time. This isn't a fucking funny situation, even though like in a few years, I think I'll be able to tell the story and laugh. But nah, as it stands, it's just fucked. Like it was such a weird situation. Ah, like yeah, but it's done, and so here we are. This is how we ended up in our house. Um, I lived with a paedophile for 3 months, and that's fucking disgusting. But positive things have come from it. Um, we haven't seen him since he moved out, which has been fucking great. He has had the sense about him to not try and be our friends. We never confronted him over it, but I'm pretty sure he probably overheard me calling him a fucking pedo at some point. And it's been wonderful that we've not seen him, not heard from him. Oh, it's been fucking great. He contacted my friend who we met through, and my friend just fucking flagged him, like didn't even tell him to fuck up, and he's not even aware of this. So if you're watching, mate, I'm sorry that this is the way you found out, but fuck. How the fuck else was I supposed to tell anyone? Like, fucking hell. Yeah. He's gone out of our lives, and it's fucking wonderful, but Jesus Christ. Oh, it was a hard slog. I actually feel a weight lifted after doing this. That's helped my soul a bit. I'm going to upload this, I'm probably not going to fucking edit it. I'm sorry that this has been a ramble, but what I can say is going forward, this channel's going to be mint. We are actually going to upload content. I'm going to stop setting myself goals, because every time I set myself a goal to meet, it puts fucking, my brain freaks out, and I'm like, ah! And it's like, ultimately no one fucking cares. But when I've said I'll upload a video in 2 days and I don't hit that deadline, it just really fucking fucks my brain up. So there will be no more deadlines for me. I will just start uploading as and when, and it'll be fun. Oh, and fucking hell, 61 fucking subscribers. Thank you so fucking much, guys. Honestly, cannot fucking believe how well the channel's been doing without me. I know that sounds fucking nonsense, but without uploading for 3 months, the actual subs that have been coming, and like the nice comments, it's been fucking great, guys. It's really given me the energy and drive to, and the want to do stuff. I just fucking haven't been, because my head's been up my fucking arse. But I'm so excited. 60, it's just fucking mint. It's amazing. I'm so happy. I can't wait to have 120. I can't wait to double it. I was going to do a 50 sub special and I missed it. We're at 61. It's fucking amazing. I might make one after this. Fuck it, I will, and I'll upload it first so it's all out of context and all a bit weird. But there we are, guys. That's my story time. I probably missed a lot out. If you want to hear more, get in the comments section. Ask me some questions. I might respond in the comments. I might just make another video. So, camera went a bit fucked there at the end. I'm not sure what got cut off because I've not watched it back yet because I can't fast forward shit on the camera. So we're going to do a little outro. Bye guys. Thank you so much for all your support whilst I've been away. Content's coming. It's going to be fucking mint. We're going to take over YouTube. We're going to be massive. Probably not. But we are going to be big. And we are going to do good things. Peace and love and whatnot. Bye. Oh, dog.